Well, hey everyone, this is Beth.
And I'm Jeff.
And this is your Enneagram Coach, the podcast. And we're here to help people to understand themselves with astonishing clarity so they can break free from self-condemnation, fear, and shame by knowing and experiencing the unconditional love, forgiveness, and freedom in Christ.
Well, Beth, we're going to talk about our work together as a couple today,
Yes.
which is a special topic. We run across other couples that do work together and build businesses together and coach together.
Yeah.
And we today have a couple of couples that have done the same and talk about this part of our life where we actually get to do this together. And so I know that for many couples, like they may desire to do it. Some of you may be like, that would never happen.
Right.
I would never, I couldn't handle it. And to be quite honest with you, there are probably some days that Beth
yes.
and I,
There are some days, yes.
because we are different.
Right.
And
But all in all, we love it.
Yeah, I remember even in ministry days, it was team accord. We were always together, and it's been a gift of the marriage that we have, and we get to the privilege of stewarding with others. So I want to welcome on the podcast the Gormans and the Savages. So Mark and Jill Savage, welcome. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell our audience what it is you do?
Thanks. Well, we are Mark and Jill Savage. We live in Normal, Illinois, which is where you guys lived at one point in time as well. What we like to say is that we help people figure out the normal stuff of marriage, and that we want them to understand the challenges that they face, the good parts that they enjoy, but also learn how to navigate all of that and to kind of normalize what it takes to be married and to be intent about that. So we're the authors of No More Perfect Marriages, and we have a lot of online courses, and then probably more than anything, and we'll talk about it today, we love our coaching that we do.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's fun. Well, and next up is Greg and Julie Gorman. Gormans, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, it's such an honor to be here. I love seeing all these faces here.
Yeah.
Good
Why don't you
friend.
tell folks what it is that you do?
Yeah. Well, we are also marriage coaches, and we've written several books. But several years ago, we created a proprietary coaching process, and we've been working with couples for several years. Julie and I have always worked together. And so
we've been doing marriage ministry long before we should have been doing marriage.
I think that probably applies to all of us.
Yes.
Oh,
No
yeah. Yeah, if you think you're ready, you waited too
It is
long.
definitely on the job training.
It is.
Oh, man, that is so funny. Well, and what's the name of the ministry that you guys run?
Married for a Purpose.
Married for a Purpose. That's awesome.
And you guys are located?
We're in South Florida. We're on the East Coast in a little town called Hobe Sound.
Hope Sound. Wow.
Right near the water.
It
Yes.
doesn't sound as adventurous as Normal, Illinois.
I'm just jealous. I'm thinking great moms need to be born in Normal, Illinois or something. I feel like
Our son was born in Normal.
He was. That's right.
Yes.
We were there for 2 years on staff with the Navigators doing campus ministry at Illinois State University, and then went back for 9 years.
I grew up in Kansas City, and just outside of Kansas City is Peculiar, Missouri. So I always tell people, well, at least it's more normal than peculiar. So, we've got that going for us.
That's super fun.
Oh.
Well, but in regards to our story, when do you start to realize, like, wow, like there's something about Jeff and Beth together that made us unique from other couples?
I think it was really right from the beginning. I think we shared passion for serving the Lord first and foremost, seeing all that He has done for us individually, and then us as a human race, like what Christ had done, and just our passion for others to know about that individually, but then seeing, oh wait, we both have the same passion, so collectively.
I mean, it was part of our dating process when we were thinking about getting married. Now, please understand, we were 18 and 19 years old.
Exactly.
We didn't really
got
know
married at 20.
what we were doing. But even when we decided, so I was a football player on scholarship, and we decided, you know what, I'm going to graduate a year early rather than...
Well, no, you got to go before that. You're skipping something important.
What did I skip?
FCA.
So I started
Yeah.
a group,
A
a
chapter?
fellowship, a chapter of Fellowship of Christian Athletes at the
At the
University of Kansas.
Yeah, and you put
So
together a fundraiser, which,
I mean, that was really cool. But I guess what you're saying, like,
well, I'm
you
just,
knew that I was going down this path
Yeah.
of ministry.
yeah, I could see that we knew that you wanted to be a pastor, but you, in ministry as a whole, being a speaker, a thought leader, like that was just,
Because place kickers at very poor football colleges have a lot to
hey,
say about
no,
Jesus.
you guys were ranked number 9 in
There
1995.
was 1 year.
We
1
went to the
year.
Aloha Bowl. Thank you very much.
Yes,
that was awesome.
And you guys will laugh at this, but I don't know if you knew this, but you're talking to a Hall of Fame athlete.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
For those that know, the University of Kansas, the basketball team is really where it's at, right? Yeah, at Allen Field House, which is where their basketball is located, they have a whole like museum. It's just amazing. Well, we were there this last fall watching a basketball game with our son Nate, and it was so fun. Like it's literally the best place to watch a basketball game. Well, we're going through the museum, and you see like the Jayhawks national championship trophy, which is just stellar. But there's all these other things with the different sports. Well, you see this wall of fame.
Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah, Wilt Chamberlain.
Gail Sayers.
no,
Like these are
James Naismith, who
the inventor of basketball is
So,
on this wall.
they're on this wall. So I'm like walking down, and Jeff's somewhere, Nate's somewhere, and I'm walking down the wall, and I was like, wait a second, that's the 1995 Aloha Bowl championship team. That's Jeff's team. And then I look and I'm like, that's Jeff in this picture. And I called Nate over and I'm like, your dad is on this wall. And he's like, what? And we are just like, holy cow, Jeff is on.
Such respect for my athletic
I know, like,
prowess. Like,
we're so surprised.
How did this happen? Your dad on this wall.
Hey, if we're honest, KU football's typically
I mean,
not
this is
going to
not
be
like Alabama where they
Right.
win a bowl game every year. If you win a bowl game at KU,
You're on the
you're
wall.
on the wall. Like you're special. But all that to say, Beth, like we wanted to go on staff with the Navigators as a couple.
right.
After college,
Right.
And so
But we saw the whole point of that was that I saw how through doing the FCA and putting together the fundraiser and all that stuff that kind of pre-work was, oh wait, there's something here. And so when you wanted to go into ministry, I could see your leadership and my desire to come alongside and support.
Well,
It
I
just
mean, you
was
had been
there.
going on what's now called Crew. You had done a summer project.
Right.
You were discipling some women. I mean, you even had a desire to influence other people
Right.
and had a desire for that. Navigators was going to be expression, and throughout all of our campus
Yeah,
ministry
so we
days.
we saw all of that kind of panning out. So we felt God was leading us in that direction.
Well, okay, Savages, let's talk with you. Tell us your origin story. Like, when did you start to realize like you want to do, like you're seeing the giftedness to be able to coach and minister together? Because that's not always been the case, if I understand it right. But at some point you realize, no, we can do this together.
Right. Yeah, I would say that Jill and I spent many years kind of doing our own individual thing in ministry, and then if you take the Savage way and follow Mark Savage, you blow your life up by having an affair and make a mess of everything.
Which we wouldn't advise taking
No.
that route at all because
I haven't done that.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
a lot of
don't do
other
it,
things
please.
I've done
That's
to blow up our
good
marriage.
advice. Good advice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't blow up your marriage that
But
way.
I would say even before we had our crisis, I remember you were a marriage and family pastor, and you asked me if I would teach a marriage seminar with you.
Mm-hmm.
And we did that for several years.
Right.
Before.
Created a mentoring course, and
Way back
Wow.
for our church.
yeah,
And but then we church planted and really kind of were doing ministry on our own. Like you were really involved in the church. I was leading a nonprofit that had become a
Right.
global ministry. And so we kind of got isolated in ministry. And then when things crashed, then that's when, of course, at that point, we're not thinking ministry. We're just
Sure.
our head is just barely above water. And when Mark makes his U-turn and recommits to our marriage, I mean, it takes us years to finish the healing process of that. But then several years after we were healed, we started sharing our story more openly. And in doing so, it just really opened up marriage ministry. And we were it started with emails from people that would hear our story, and we would encourage them through emails. And then before you know it, people were asking if they could meet with us. And so we're starting to do that more. And then, I mean, we were doing that on top of Mark at that point was running a construction business. I was still running the nonprofit. I resigned from leading the nonprofit, and he began the process of closing down his construction business and until we could begin to do coaching full time.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's really, I just noticed something. So if you're watching this on YouTube, and you'll see that we all have our names and the name of the ministries that we run on our video. And Beth did not put in Beth and Jeff McCord. It just says Beth as we're talking about coaching together.
That's hilarious.
Which
what
is a part of
great.
this whole conversation,
It
because,
is.
and I think this, Mark may share this, and I don't know particularly for the Gormans, but like people know Beth, they don't really know me.
Right.
And that was
we ran
probably
into
true of the
that.
Savages. Yes.
Oh my
Right.
gosh.
I
And
used to, that was a huge issue. And
it's part of what blew up our marriage.
yeah,
Was
Uh,
jealousy.
Jill was like, people, they like both of us. I said, no, Jill, they love you. They like the idea of me. And we were,
He used to say that all the time. And one time we were literally driving to a speaking engagement
where
that-
we both were speaking.
Yes, where we both were speaking, and we're having this same conversation, and we pull in to the parking lot of the church, and on the sign it says, "This church welcomes Jill Savage."
Yes.
There was no Mark Savage in fine print. It was nowhere to be found.
I
And
remember
was
we did
like,
we
there
did a
you go.
pilot event for our Becoming Us live event, and there was a line of people wanting to talk to us after. I'm sorry, there was a line of people wanting to talk, and I would go down there and try to talk, and like I just realized, like I even asked the couple, like, "Are you waiting here to talk to Beth?" And they're like, "Yes, we are." Like, I am no longer Pastor Jeff. I am now Beth's husband.
Right.
Wow.
Well, Gormans,
Yeah.
tell us how did things begin for you? When did you start to realize, hey, like our marriage, there's something about it that we want to go about life together and serve people?
Well, ours is a little bit different in that way, in that we really were in marriage ministry as soon as we got married. Julie made a comment earlier, that we were in marriage ministry long before we should have been. We would have a knockdown, drag out fight on the way to church, and tears
Awesome.
still trying to dry our eyes, and get up, teach a class, right? kind of hatched that way. But I think one of the things that, when our pastor asked us if we would lead a small marriage group, we'd been married for almost 2 years. And it was actually on a Sunday morning. So it was a Sunday morning church class for young marrieds.
It's supposed to be for young marrieds, but we had really old people, and they're like, they were 50 years old.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and like you had a lot to offer those people who had been married for 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
But what Greg was alluding to, we made this deal with one another that we would always do life and ministry authentically. Because of that, I think we were attracting not just the young marrieds, but all married people, because they were like, okay, well, we're not quite as jacked up as these people. We might
Yeah, let's hope that. I think it's kind of like the Savage. I think, what they were talking about, sharing openly about their struggles. I think that's our secret sauce anyway, has been very authentic about our failures and the things that we've struggled with, because we have always felt like, everybody else is struggling with the same stuff. You
Yeah.
know, they're just trying to keep it quiet. So let's just put ours out there
Mhm.
and give them some hope. But we didn't start doing it professionally until several years later. We were both,
Mm.
working different careers, and I think probably about
I was always his right hand though. Like we did all of our careers together. There was only a small period of time that we actually weren't doing ministry together. And that's when I was leading a team of women in ministry. He kind of stepped into corporate America. And it was probably about not even that. Was it 7 years of that, 4 years of that? Something anywhere. Anyways, he at one point just felt compelled. He's like, I really feel like we're supposed to do life and ministry
well, I was doing
together
some
again.
corporate speaking and
Yeah.
corporate executive coaching
Yeah.
at that point, and was doing well. But man, I missed that team dynamic of
Right.
having Julie
Mhm.
with me, because we do operate so well together. And yeah, so I started praying about it, and I asked Julie. I said, would you? I tried to get her into my world first, because again,
Mhm.
I really wanted to be in the corporate. And yeah, she just wasn't. It was like that. She was not having it. It's
Yeah.
Wow.
time, and so. But as time evolved, we really began to evaluate where the fruit in our life had come from. And for whatever reason, there has been I would call it, not to be too overly Christianese, but kind of an anointing, like a special secret sauce between the two of us, that people recognized our marriage as being something special. Even in all the hair, teeth, and eyeballs that would happen in our marriage, when things were tough.
Yeah.
It seemed to give people hope, and they gravitated.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Wow.
So we decided about 15 years ago to make it actually our profession. We ran businesses on the side together, but this has been our primary gig for
Awesome.
a little
I
over a
will
decade.
say though, there's a common thread here, and there's that thing of competition and comparisons that can really be detrimental to a coaching relationship, marriage relationship. That we all share that common thread where it seems as though other people were trying to pin our gifts against one another. And so a little bit of like what
Mhm.
you were saying, Mark and Jill, where it was like people were recognizing, because I had been in women's ministry, there was a familiarity there, a natural already lead
Mhm.
publishers and different church organizations. And I remember it was a little bit difficult for a while because like, "Hi, Julie,"
Yeah.
and it was,
Yeah.
Sure.
"Why don't you please just highlight him because I
Right.
don't really care."
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
and that's a great segue into the next topic. And the idea is that it's not always easy
Mm.
coaching and doing work together. But what comes to mind for you when you think about where we get mixed up and disorganized internally and trip up over one another?
I would say it's when we have different ideas of maybe what we should be doing, where we should take the company, maybe vision, implementation, because I want everything easy and I don't want to upset you. And I'm like, I'll acquiesce a lot. And then you're not even asking for it. I just want things smooth and simple, which that actually creates the problem and the dynamic.
Mm.
But I'm hoping, like, okay, sure, yeah, we'll go that direction. But deep down, I might not want to. And that creates a dynamic and a
Yeah.
pull.
Mm.
And Beth and I actually, and we have different interests. I mean, the Beth is the Enneagram expert in our marriage now, and I've read and I know a lot
Yeah.
about the Enneagram,
Right.
but my reading was more pastoral counseling and theology.
And that's not, I
Uh,
mean, I know a lot of that, but that's not my
Right.
training.
And so at times, whenever might suggest something that would be a different way of looking at an Enneagram concept, Beth would be like, "No, that's not really Enneagram talk," and I'm like, "Yeah, but it's good talk." But even at times, like asking questions, like we can, you may experience it if you're a regular listener on the podcast, like the kinds of questions that Beth asked versus the kinds of questions that Jeff asked, and we get really passionate, like we want to get to it, but yet we might not have enough time. So there's
Yeah.
always this kind of,
Well, and I think even how we coach is very different. Like I have more of I guess like a teaching, guiding question curiosity approach, but you would be more curiosity question approach
Yeah.
first.
Right.
And not that one is right or wrong, but when you have differing gifts or skill sets or passions or the way you see things, it can start to rub up against, each other's desires, and there can be friction, and I just don't want friction. And so I
But
try
to be
to
honest with you,
navigate these quote unquote what I think are like landmines when they're really not that big of a deal.
Right.
And if I would see it more for really what it is and navigate it more in a healthy way, then we'd actually address things versus trying to either check out, numb out, avoid, which only has created, I would say, more dynamics. And that's my side. Now you
I
have
know
your
it's
side.
hard to say this, but I believe this to be true. I'm not sure if you would believe it to be true. I think you would. I think the magic happens when there's friction. Like it's usually when the more that we work on our own stuff, on the other side of it,
I can say I see exactly what you're saying, but there's a ton inside of me that's like, ooh, that sounds terrible. Like I think I'm just
Yes.
as a 9, like I don't even almost want to admit that that's true, because then it like, am I giving him license that this is like okay, like we should have friction? Like I don't want to admit it. But no, I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, and it's like for all of us,
like our last book, More Than Your Number,
growth
came out of our marriage stuff.
Yeah, growth is hard. Growth comes out of working through hard things. And us 9s, we just want something that's simple and easy and smooth, if I'm just being very honest.
And I will say, even for me, like I bring a lot of energy and passion. My presence is felt. Whereas for Beth, she wants to maybe pull back a little bit and maybe not be seen at times. And so a lot of times the dynamic is me trying to pull Beth out. And other times she's kind of like, hey,
can you simmer
turn
it
the
down?
volume. Can you simmer it down? Okay,
So,
Savages.
what about you
Yeah,
guys?
so Savages, we'll start with you first. Tell us, when have you experienced the turbulence and bumpiness of coaching and leading together?
No.
Not at all.
Never.
Okay. Well, let's just start out that Mark is an Enneagram 9 and I'm an Enneagram 1. So
a match made in heaven.
exactly.
I know. So what else is to be said?
What could go wrong?
I know.
A lot.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do sense that we have been able to kind of fall into a routine and a pattern. Definitely Jill brings more passion and energy. You're more of that teacher, coach, and I am more of a
You're a shepherd.
shepherd.
You are a shepherd, and you are actually good at really asking questions, and you've worked really hard. When I think of like your book, Jeff and Beth, More Than a Number, it really talks about that personal growth. And part of Mark's personal growth has been learning to not fear conflict and to really find your voice, because that has been, that's probably one of the places that you would hesitate. And we're not even talking just in coaching. That's been in 39 years of our marriage, and 60.
I wanted the easy button too, Beth.
I know, right?
Yes.
Isn't there one?
No,
I've
no,
seen
no.
it on those commercials. Don't they sell it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why?
they're selling something else, not the button itself, right?
Well, they need to have the button. We're waiting
real
for the
life.
button.
I mean, Mark, what is that like for you? So you guys do intensives where it's an all weekend experience with a couple that needs help. What is it like for you as an Enneagram 9 to tell Jill that maybe she did something wrong?
Oh,
Julie's like,
Go
ooh,
right ahead.
now we're all listening.
Yeah. Well, I think I've learned you don't say how you did that was wrong. You blew it up, babe. What were you thinking?
Sure.
that we really have a natural way of evaluating, and I do think it's who we are today as a couple has really grown tremendously and has developed through the hardships that we've faced early
Yeah.
on in marriage. And so we do have conversations often where we'll say, well, we tried this approach, that didn't work, or we didn't accomplish what we had hoped. So we then
We do a lot of brainstorming together. What do you think? I think
Yeah.
I'd like to go in this direction. What do you think about that? But in answer to the question that Jeff asked, I do think that has, you've really come to a place where that happens naturally between the two of us. Like routinely, as a one, I don't have trouble telling him what he did wrong. I have trouble telling him what he did wrong in a nice way and in a
Right.
way that considers the big picture, and that's been my personal growth, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Right.
I think that in finding your voice,
Mm-hmm.
that has also included being able to communicate either a disappointment or a direction that you want changed or something like
Mm-hmm.
that.
So I think to answer the question from a different way, if Jill comes at me more direct and intense, I used to really become defensive and antagonistic towards that, and almost like, I was taking it personal. You will not talk to me that way. Rawr! And
Yeah.
that was
I
not
love that
effective.
9 roar.
Yeah.
It takes a
It was
while
a
for them to
noble
get there,
attempt
but
at a roar.
Yeah.
It feels like I tell people, I go, I feel like I'm
Hulk.
but what's his alter ego, Dr. Banner, and then
Oh.
it's like, don't
Yeah.
set me off, and then
Yeah.
it's like I feel like I get to be this big Hulk, all of a sudden, and my
Yeah.
kids are like, Mom, that might be how you see it, but if that's true, you're like a foot tall Hulk. Like you're not you're
Yeah.
you're really not the Hulk, like the 10-foot Hulk or whatever how big he is. I'm
Right.
Funny.
like, dang it.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's funny.
Yeah.
That's great.
So what I'll do is I'll come back to Jill and say, okay, I can tell that you're frustrated by that. What is it that you wanted to see happen? What are your thoughts? How would you like to move ahead in this? And so I think that does happen naturally,
Mhm.
and we can have that conversation without walking away feeling like we had just been in this knockdown, drag out argument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
And it's a important point to remember. Like in the recovery world, there's a phrase that if it's not messy, you're probably not doing it right. And
Mhm.
part of doing this work together is learning together. And
Mhm.
you wonderful examples of keeping the problem versus making the person the problem.
Right.
And you find new
Absolutely.
ways like, okay, that didn't work for us. Okay, how can we re-engineer this? Well,
Right.
Gormans, tell us about you. I would imagine there's not too many problems where
No
you've
friction there.
no
Right.
friction at all. You've been nailing it from the beginning.
We've been nailing it all right.
Well, I stated earlier, there's usually it's not uncommon for there to be a lot of fur flying around here. I like to say.
Oh, that's a fun phrase. Like, I love being around you, Greg, because you bring some idioms that some fur flying. That when our kids come home and Beth and I have been arguing, I'm going to say, "Hey guys, you may see some fur flying."
And they'll be like, what happened to the dog?
Right.
Who's license on that, bro? Oh man, I'll tell you, one of the things that has historically been difficult for us, and I would love to hear what your response or your thoughts are on, but it's that I'm an external processor and she's an internal processor. And so Enneagram, by the way, I'm a 7 and you're a
2.
2. So yeah. So
it's a perfect marriage. Like there's no problems with a 7-2 relationship.
Well,
Well, when we start working on things, what I have learned is, first of all, I would give all kinds of different ideas. I can have a million ideas a minute. And as the years have gone, I've learned to harness that a little bit better, but I have a lot of ideas. Julie is very much a doer. One of the things I love about her, the way she's wired, is that she does things. And so if I'm not careful to qualify a statement or an idea that I've had, then I'll wake up the next morning after she stayed up all night and gotten something done, and I don't even
I'm
know
like,
what it is.
look,
I'm
babe,
like,
look what I created. He's like, what's
Yeah.
that? And I'm like,
oh, I was just thinking out loud, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Got me in
Yes.
trouble a few times. But I've also learned that I need the whiteboard. And so again, for me, again, being an external processor, this was a great discovery for me. If I whiteboard with Julie, it's extremely frustrating to her. And it's frustrating to me as well, because as we're working through and kind of ideating about things, she'll start giving pushback or wanting definite clarity on something, when it's just an idea that I'm not even committed to. But because she's pushing back, it makes me think I need to sell the idea. And so I just dig my heels in and we get in gridlock.
Yeah.
And so I've learned that the better process is for me to go and conceptualize and ideate on a whiteboard, which allows me to do it externally,
Yeah.
you know, not with another person, but the whiteboard becomes who I'm sharing it with, which works for me. And then after I've gotten it sifted down a little bit, I bring her in and be like, okay, here's what I'm thinking. What do you think now? And then I can actually be receptive to her receiving. How would you respond to that?
yeah, I would have to concur. The other part of it, sometimes I think I'm a 9, even though I scored a 2, because the truth is there most of the time I'm just
She
trying
has
to figure
multiple
out.
personalities.
Yeah, I get bored, I just I'll be this personality today. No,
Right.
but there are so many times where, kind of like what you were saying, Beth, he may be pushing something pretty strong, and I just want it to be okay. I'll do that, until all of a sudden I realized, no, wait a minute, I have a strong opinion here. And so there were times where I would just lash out, when the truth was Greg never asked me to fill in a gap or do a certain project, or so I was building up some resentment. And so now I think we've mastered that a whole lot better. Greg's also a really strong personality. And so no, so most of the time I'm like pretty okay with being in the background, but I also have this thing that's like, well, wait a minute, I did all of that and there's no recognition for me at
What are you
all.
talking about?
Right.
Yeah.
Here's the truth. Every time. And no, it's actually comical at this point, where before it used to be an offense, but it'd be like, well, like Greg said. And I was like, no, Greg didn't say that. I said that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because his voice is so strong, and he'll come back. I might say something and I'm emphasizing it, getting to the heart of it, but he'll come in and goes, let me hit you real straight.
Yeah.
And when he does that, they wake up and what they hear is that commanding strength and resolve. So from that, he has just a commanding authority that I don't carry
Yeah.
in the same capacity that he carries. And so that used to be, I think, in the early years. Now, like Greg said, I'll nudge him like that and just start giggling.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes,
That's
guys,
awesome.
because this is another area. It's a different turn in the conversation, same subject matter, the struggles of coaching together.
Mhm.
Do y'all struggle to shut it off?
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Shut-
Yes.
Like,
Well,
well, just
right?
clarification, which, like, because when you are, you're coaching together, you're ideating together, you're producing, you're employers, like, so which part are we talking about?
All of it.
That's
Yeah.
pretty
All
long.
of it.
Yeah, it's very hard.
The answer is yes. That's what I'm
Yes.
talking about.
Oh,
Yes.
man.
And here's,
Like we will go at the end of our day, because we work from home, we will try to go out. And it ordinarily starts with a statement by one of us. I don't want to talk about the business.
At work. Yes.
and then we talk about
And then the next comment is, well, I was thinking.
Yes. Yes. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, we do as well. We struggle with that. And here's another piece of that. I am an introvert, and introverts are refueled by being alone. And so the other part is that I struggle with not having that space. And so, because I need alone time to be creative, for some of the writing that I do, where I
Mm-hmm.
just need to, and we're always in the same space.
Right.
And so that, I think that goes along with it as well.
Mhm.
It's funny. Beth works on our patio out behind her house, and like she is so zoned in. Anytime I walk out there, I scare her.
I'm like,
Like, what was that? What was it? It's just your husband, Beth. I live here with you,
yeah.
but she
Yeah.
works very alone. Now, I would love to just have a whiteboard for a house and just ideate and talk all day long, but that is not
Yeah.
Beth's
No,
process.
You've
not
got to
at all.
start recording it, dude.
Oh, he scares me all the time. He'll
And,
come
and,
home.
and I record it.
You record your ideating?
No, I record
Scaring me.
scaring her.
Oh.
Yeah, make a thing out of it. Gotta capitalize on these things, bro.
I would love to be known as Beth's husband who terrifies her multiple times a day. I'm sure
I get
that
so focused.
yeah, I'm sure that
No.
TikTok account's
That-
going to go really, really well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
that's
well,
so
Gormans-
funny. Jill
go
does
ahead, Mark.
that to me. I'll be focused on the computer. She's gone out of our office. We share an office, and then she'll kind of slide in and touch my shoulder, and I'm like, "Wow!"
Yeah, that's
I
exactly
didn't even know
it.
she was there.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
think,
Well,
you know-
Gormans, what about you guys? I mean, how do you balance work, relationship, family? Because
What I wanted to say as they go into that, I was going to say with his question, to be fair, I think all of us would say there are times that we definitely don't want to talk about the business, and yet we love what we do.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so
Exactly.
it's
Right.
Wow,
really
yes, that's right.
challenging to shut it off because there's so many
Because
facets.
you love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's one day I love this part of the business and I hate that part of the business, but then the next day it's flip-flopped, and
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
it makes it challenging to know which parts we can or can't talk about on any given day because it's challenging, but we're passionate about who we're serving
Mhm.
and what
We
we're
love it.
doing, that
Mhm.
we want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And yet we know that there needs to be healthy boundaries. And so it's just a real conundrum. And then we have 2 kids that work full time for the business. And one of them wants to talk and ideate all the time, and the other wants, a lot more boundaries. And so it's just interesting how that even fluctuates and shifts too. But yeah, Gormans, go ahead.
Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, we've had to be a bit ferocious about it, really. We've had to put up boundaries. And I think we started out trying to fit in rest time and fit in connection and intimacy and all of the different dynamics of our life. And that's bass backwards. I know you can run with that one too, Jeff. But
Julie, you're probably used to it, but like, do you ever, like, he says something like that just drops a bomb and you're like, oh my.
Yeah, he still astounds me to this day, and he'll say things, and I'm like, "Where did you come up with that?"
Anyway,
What's really bad is when he's standing up in front of a church and he uses the
Right.
no.
I love it. I love it.
pastor squirm every now and then. But
I
anyway,
know.
Yes.
we really began to carve out specific times in our calendar, and then we really guard that time. It's scheduled ahead of time rather than trying to fit it in. So that's what we try to do for periodically throughout the year. But the other thing that we did is we actually took a period of time and started jotting down questions that we could ask one another in different categories, and we actually share that with couples, just conversation starters. And it's funny because we went on vacation not too long ago, and
We were sitting at the table, like we're out at this, we're celebrating our anniversary, and we're just kind of like sitting there looking at each other. And I'm like, how about we pull out the fun and flirty conversation starters? And we pulled it out.
which I'm all about.
Yeah, and we started. And I do think it takes a lot of intentionality. We
It
put
does.
one of the rules was there is the no phone zone in our bedroom and no work zone in our bedroom. And so we carved out a place in our house because we're not only are we working 24/7 together, but it's also in the confinement of our home. And so
Right.
we had to put that safe space that isn't
Mhm.
associated in any way with
Mhm.
work.
Mhm.
And so that
Mm.
kind of helped.
Bedroom.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh, that's
awesome.
great.
So here's another question I wanted to ask. What is it that you love about working together that like you just can't do without?
Mm.
Beth, what about you? Tell me about what it's you love about working with me and why your life is better working with me.
Let me think. No, I really love how God has brought our same passions, but from different skill sets, different insights, different personality types. But we're still heading. It's like we are right now on camera, side by side, walking this path together. We're walking up the hills and down the hills and through, all the windy roads and everything together. And with the hopes that as we journey through this and as we learn and God shows us things, that we're passing on our insights, the different things that we've learned to a few people that are behind us, like, hey, follow us, this is what God's shown us. And I think by doing that and then seeing what God does in their life and their, transformation, their growth, that's what's so fun and inspiring. And to see it unfold from two different people, two different skill sets, it's just watching God really do his work in the marriage and in the business as a collective. And that just really excites me.
Yeah. Tim Keller has a quote in his marriage book about particularly whenever, the kingdom arrives and we are transformed and to be in Christ's likeness and in its fullness. And he makes this comment and idea. I'd look it up, but I don't have my phone with me. But he has this idea of like, hey, I want to be a part of the process of what God is doing in your life to make you something that he sees in you. And as a spouse, I get a front row seat to that. And that we're going to see it in full glory in heaven, but I get to see part of that now. And there is such a joy to do this in such a way and then there's just the joy of seeing how when she may present something or I may present it, and in the end, the end goal is that someone else experience a gift of God's grace. It is such a joy to be able to do that together, that it's not just Beth's work, it's not just me doing something, but it's something that we can create together. It just brings me so much joy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Gormans, we're going to start with you first. I mean, tell us, what is it that you love about working together?
Yeah, I love, Greg says so often that the strength of a team is the diversity of the team. And I think we're finally at a place in our marriage relationship that we no longer see one another's differences as faults. Like we able to leverage one another's differences as strengths.
Yes.
There is a place, man, there is no greater peace or joy than knowing that there is another person who 100% has my back, who has my best interest at heart. And because we both share that, man, it's powerful to be able to walk into any room and know that it's okay. Like Greg's got my back. We're good. We're going to move forward with this. The difference in the way that we approach it. And man, we laugh a lot. Like we really have so much joy of being able to do life together.
And we're very
fun.
different
Yeah.
in our strengths, both in a very practical sense and then specifically in the coaching realm as well, in our style of coaching. But it really, really works well. I think, especially now that we've done it for as long as we have. Julie is so much more patient, and I really do love that about her. If you spent more than 10 minutes around Julie, you know that she just oozes love. She's a warm person, very easy to be around. She's more concerned with meeting your needs than having her needs met, right?
Yeah.
And coming right along with that, she's got that touch of patience that I just don't have. I'm a little bit tighter wound. I'm a little bit more direct in approach. I pull people up through inspiration, but I'm also very direct about it, so
Yeah.
they'll thank me for it, truly. But there's times when that's not what people need at all. And over the years, we've really learned that just that perfect rhythm, I think, at this point
Yep.
of being able to yield to one another, just kind of chill out and watch her do her thing instead of, pile
Sure.
drive people like
I mean,
don't.
I hear that in you. I think I'm better at what I do, at my strengths, because of Beth's presence
Yes,
with me
yes,
in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yep.
doesn't minimize it. It actually strengthens it.
Well, when we're younger, we think it's the opposite that's
Oh, it's
happening,
competitive.
Oh,
right?
right.
It's like
Right.
well, if you would just let me be me and you stop trying to change me, then I would be great. When in actuality, by me learning
Yeah.
to work alongside you, but not become another person, but it it just smooths out some of the edges and
Yeah.
works much better.
Well, Savage, just tell us from your perspective, what do you love about working together?
Yeah. I think a lot of the things that you've been saying are true for us as well. But I think that we have really learned how to play ball together and when to throw Jill the ball, or she knows when to throw me the ball. It's truly fun to watch Jill kind of navigate someone's life and just to watch that from my perspective and it be a home run hit. And I'm like, that was incredible. Chill.
Yeah.
That was just amazing. And
Yeah.
And I feel the same way. Like there's so many, and I think the other piece that happens too is I am strong with words. You are strong with pictures. And some people need words and some people need pictures.
Yeah.
Well,
And
even just the image that he gave of tossing the ball to one another,
Yeah.
it's so true. When you've been coaching a while with your spouse, like you just know, like you may think you're good at it, but you know that they're better.
Right.
That's
Right.
exactly right.
And you learn
Right.
how to pass the ball.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that's been fun to trust. We really trust each other, and we know that we are a team. So Team Savage.
And we like to say that we have a front row seat. I mean, coaching marriages, and we coach a lot of marriages in crisis because of our story. We spend a lot of time with people that are rebuilding trust. They're navigating healing from infidelity. And so one of the most beautiful things that we say is it's so fun to have a front row seat at watching God work. But I'd rather do that together than on my own.
Yeah.
So I think
Sure.
it's experiencing that together.
Yeah.
Here's another one real quick. Like, again, more as a question for you guys, if you experience this as well. But sometimes for us, as we are coaching other people, when we're done and we wrap up the day and we head off to put a bow on the day, it's like, man, I am so thankful for you. So that's another kind of benefit of doing this together. It's
Yes.
not for, poking at anybody else's issues or anything like that. It's not about that. It's just kind of like I remember when we were where they're at.
Yes.
And we've
Yes.
We
so
say that a lot. Like,
Yep.
wow, that was us 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. And we use the phrasing Mark and Jill. That was Mark and Jill 1.0. I sure am glad that we're Mark and Jill 2.0.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I would agree with that.
And what I find in coaching together, it reminds us of what we need to keep working on. Like we'll be sitting with a couple and we'll be talking through an issue, and when Jill and I are done, I'll be like, you know what? I kind of have let that slide. I need to get back at this. And I need to get I just need to stay focused on that part and not let it become dominant in my life. And
Yeah.
that's been fun.
I'm glad you recognize that.
I've been praying you would see that.
What? And you didn't tell me? That's so unusual.
So
That's
good.
great.
Okay, for the last segment, here's what advice from your experience for someone who's maybe interested in getting into coaching with their spouse? Now, whether that be Enneagram coaching, marriage coaching, life coaching, whatever type of coaching you may be considering doing as a couple, what would you guys offer as just some advice that you'd like to offer them? Beth, do you have anything?
Wow. I think the first thing that comes to my mind is do your own work, like do your own internal work.
Yep.
And I know that's probably like your mouth. Here, let me help you get that off the floor. Like nines are notorious of, sticking our head in the sand and like, what problem? I don't know what you're talking about. Everything's great, And so it took me a lot longer to see my faults, my issues, my weaknesses at a true level. I mean, of course, there's like, yeah, I see that little something, but to really work on it took me a lot longer than Jeff. Jeff has always been much more of the pioneer in our relationship to work on his stuff. And by seeing his growth, it inspired me a lot of times like, oh, it's not as scary. It's not as hard. I mean, it is hard. Actually, no, it is very hard. But it's possible and it's transformational personally, but also relationally. And so I think the more I have owned my own stuff and done my own work, it has only heightened our coaching together, our life together, our friendship together. And, I can still see there's a long ways to go, but I'm not as afraid of it, I think, as when I was trying not to see it at all.
Yeah. For our own stuff, there's a phrase that some therapists use that if it's hysterical, it's historical. Or if it's big, it usually means that it's something in your heart. Like things are going to come up, but that doesn't disqualify you. That's the invitation that you get to experience God's grace in helping you to become who he wants you to become when you're working with your spouse.
Well, and I think you alluded to this earlier. It's like every time I'm working on something or we're working on something, I laugh now. I'm like, yep, I'm sure this is going to be in a book. Great. Or I'm sure this is gonna I'm gonna be coaching someone and I'm gonna have this, oh, that's why God was having me go through that, and learning that. Right. And so I laugh at it now because in the past it would have felt like shame or like I'm bad or I'm doing, whereas now it's like God's just he's teaching me one more thing and he's guiding me through one more adventure of growth.
No, I mean, it's interesting because it is about, so Gormans mentioned it earlier, that, oh man, the thought just left me, but we want to lead from authenticity.
Yeah.
Right.
At the same time, when we are coaching, we don't want our issues to get in the way of the couple's process.
Right.
And so there is a balance to it, but don't waste your pain.
Right.
Like it is a gift to other people, and most people won't share that out of shame.
Right.
But the grace of God tells us, it's, I can't remember, there's a pastor who said something like, we're attracted to one another's successes, but we are connected to one another in our pain. And there's an opportunity to connect and help people whenever we are honest about our experience.
Yeah.
So, Gormans, let's start with you. What would you share with a couple who's interested in coaching?
I got one for you. This is I think the thing that totally radically has changed our pace is by having the priority conversation. And so we were talking about the 24/7. It's hard to shut it off. And so every week we're coming together. We call it the Sunday night locker room huddle, right? We're coming together. We're talking about life. We're talking about dreams. We're talking about the priority. And so really on a daily basis, we do this, but we'll ask one another, what's your priority today?
Not Not with an S.
not with an S, right? The
Mhm.
whole,
Mhm.
because, and it really comes from the McCowan book, Essentialism, right? Where you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. I like to say
Mhm.
someone or something else
Yeah.
will. And
Mhm.
so because we're so passionate, because both Greg and I are extremely intense and we are like type A, don't take any excuses. I remember when God kind of whispered to my heart and he said, Julie, your breakthrough won't come by trying harder or working harder, but by resting more.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I found that my
Mm.
comes by understanding what my priority is for the week. And sometimes that priority is as simple as we need to connect or we need to connect with our kids and giving ourselves the understanding, don't lie about your capacity, right? Slow down.
Mhm.
And so it helps when we look at one another because sometimes I might think he needs a priority that isn't his priority. And so we need to have a conversation.
Yeah.
And there's times where maybe he thought maybe something was of a higher priority that wasn't on mine.
Mhm.
Sure.
Just to say, you know what, if we don't get anything else done, I'm going to pull a Greg on you here. What would make us high five, happy dance, and chest bump if we in the week? So it's
I don't believe I've ever chest bumped, Beth.
Well, we'll keep it there. Yeah, but let's not. Thank you.
Funny.
I think my response, in addition to what Julie said, it took us a little while to get our right rhythm and figure
Mhm.
out
Mhm.
our roles,
yeah,
our
Yes.
individual
Mhm.
roles. But I think
define them.
once we really did a deep dive in that and um, assigned,
Mhm.
like you are, because if everybody's in charge, nobody's in charge, right?
Right.
Sure.
Everybody's got to be in charge of this, and then someone else might need to be in charge of this. And when we established that, even in the hierarchy in our home, it made a huge difference. So certainly in coaching together,
Yeah.
and then learning how to communicate, and like you guys were talking, um, not letting your story get in the way of the coaching, but actually leveraging it to relate,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
only for the
Mhm.
sake of relating to
For
what
their
they're
growth.
going,
Yeah.
only as
Yep.
it applies to them and for their betterment, not just so we can tell our story.
Yeah.
Mhm.
As
Yeah.
Well, savages, what about you guys?
Mm.
What would you
You know,
offer?
as you guys were talking, I jotted down just a couple of things. First, y- start. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're thinking about this, people are probably asking you in some way to share wisdom. Maybe
Yes.
they're
Yeah.
seeking you out. That naturally happens. And, that imposter syndrome can get in
Mhm.
there and go, Wait, what do we have to offer?"
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
And, what's really exciting for us is we have, so we just launched our very first cohort of training marriage coaches, training, we call them Marriage 2.0 coaches. And in our training, we have multiple couples that had been coaching with us for the last few years.
Mm.
And so, at first they're like, I don't know, like, we're really interested in this, but I don't know if we're really at a
Mhm.
place.
Right.
And you know what? They've done the work.
Right.
None of us are complete.
No.
Right.
None of us on this side of heaven are done. Like, our
Mhm.
Right.
marriage has arrived.
Mhm.
So if you're waiting for your marriage to arrive, you're going to be waiting for a long time because it
Yes.
isn't
Yeah.
going to happen. So there is always somebody that's behind you.
Right.
Mhm.
And so I think one of the things, and we actually talk about this, man, we learn something new, we turn around and teach it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because then it's really effective, and it cements itself inside of us. And it's also interesting that we'll be in a struggle, and we're trying to work it out, and we sit in front of a couple, and all of a sudden our struggle raises, I'm not going to say that right. They're struggling with the same thing that we are, and God lets us see insight into their struggle that we can apply to ours. It's
Right.
so bizarre that we walk
Mhm.
away going, "Wow, we got our
Yeah.
answer."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Right.
it's just cool uh, how God allows us to really invest in another couple and everybody's life is transformed in the process.
It is. And the last thing I would say is the power of prayer
Yeah.
is so very important. When Mark is, whether we're speaking, we travel and do No More Perfect Marriage seminars. So we also speak the same way that we coach. And when he's speaking, or when we're in the middle of coaching and he's kind of interacting with a couple, I'm praying.
And
then vice versa.
Right.
He's praying when I'm kind of taking the lead. And we have to trust that we're not the ones that have to come with the answers.
Right.
Yeah.
We know the one who has the
Mhm.
answers.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times I think we get in the way because we think we have to have those answers. We just simply need to stay connected to the one that will guide us and lead us and show us the way.
Right.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, all of you,
Yeah.
and for just showing up, and even the fact that you responded by faith to God's call in your life, despite all the reasons that our mutual enemy would tell us not to. You decided you're going to believe that God was enough, and He wanted you to do it. And such an inspiration for the couples out there that want to take and dip their toes in this as a possibility of maybe working together. I know that many couples would love it, but are afraid to even start. Well, Gormans, where can people find you, and about the work that you do, and about what it's like becoming a marriage coach with you?
Yep, marriedforapurpose.com. Pretty much all the social media handles will have Married for a Purpose.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And Savages.
Well, you can find us on our website is markandjill.org. markandjill.org. All of our social media is under my name, which is jillsavage.author.
Great.
Awesome.
Well, and for those of you guys that are out there and you're like, oh man, I've kind of felt that feeling inside that, I see us, coaching or walking alongside other, couples or people or individuals, whatever it might be. If you're feeling that tug, just take a look at what coaching is like as a couple. So we've opened our registration for Become an Enneagram Coach this week. And we also are hosting a lot of webinars to educate you on what is an Enneagram coach. And so if that's something that you're excited about looking into, then sign up for one of our webinars at enneagramwebinar.com. That's enneagramwebinar.com. Or email us at info@yourenneagramcoach.com and let us know that you and your spouse are interested in coaching. Or if you're not married, but you're like Beth, or maybe you're just like, Beth, I would like to coach, but my spouse doesn't want to coach, come to the webinar too. So this is just really for anyone that is interested in coaching with the Enneagram. But we would love to connect with you on that. Well, thank you guys so much for coming today and listening to our fun time together as friends, but also in kind of a shared space of coaching as couples. Thank you for listening. But just remember, the Enneagram reveals your need for Jesus, not your need to work harder, because it is the gospel that transforms us.